In our next podcast, we're celebrating a special occasion, my birthday. That is right. Happy birthday to me. And from the Hollywood show in Burbank, California, we are talking to two of my favorite actors, C.Thomas Howell and Henry Thomas. C.Thomas Howell from such amazing films as E.T., Secret Admirer, and Outsiders, and many more. And Henry Thomas from E.T., the Henry Thomas. You will not want to miss what both these actors have to share with me for my birthday. And we also have an amazing talent, from telenovelas to her music to her movies. So let's see what she has to say. We have a lot more coverage from the Hollywood show from this past January 10th. So stay tuned for this birthday podcast as I make my confessions as a hardcore fan of these talents that we are presenting, with a special message to me to share to you.
Hello everyone, Jorge Amir here with Hollywood at Ovation with Jorge Amir, and we're here at the Hollywood show. Today is January 10th, 2026. We're 2 days away from my birthday, so we are actually going to have a birthday celebration here at the Hollywood show. And we have, you'll never believe this because I could not believe this myself, some of my very favorite actors, two of my favorite actors are in this show here, and they've got some messages for me and for you that I'd like to share with you. One is C.Thomas Howell, who starred in Secret Admirer and E.T., and no other than Henry Thomas, the star of E.T. himself. And these are two actors that I followed their career from the 80s. I love their work. I have walls with their films in it, and I just wanted to share with you what they had to say, which is totally exciting for me. So we're going to be having them in the show, and also a few other surprises of actors that we've interviewed and what they have to say about Hollywood, how things were when they actually were working. And we have a fun show for you today, so stick around and stay tuned, because we're about to dig into the latest Hollywood show here at Burbank Marriott, the Burbank edition of the Hollywood show. Hello everyone, we're here with one of my very favorite actors, C.Thomas Howell from the film Secret Admirers, E.T. I mean, I have a long list of his films in my library. C.Thomas, what a pleasure here at the Hollywood show to be in person, in your presence.
Jorge, I believe it's your birthday or just passed?
It's coming on Monday.
Okay, coming up. So
January 12th.
Happy birthday, my friend. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for the support. To your fans, great guy, and we're hanging out in Burbank today, and I just wanted to make sure he had a birthday shout out from me.
Bucket list, checking this one out. Thank you, folks. Thank you.
Stay gold, everybody.
We are here with the famous Maria Conchita Alonso and Jorge Amir here. I actually distributed one of Maria Alonso's films in 1997 called California. Maria, what?
Oh my goodness, that long ago.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we had a premiere in New York, and I'm not sure if you were at the premiere. We actually had a premiere at it was on mid-Manhattan, the after party at Lime.
This interview because after my interview with Maria Conchita Alonso, I went back into my files, my video and photo files, to look up the California Myth premiere, and lo and behold, we found Maria Conchita Alonso, photos of her at the premiere of California Myth, photos from back in the 1990s. Can you believe that? And with that, some video footage of the premiere of California Myth that we had at the Chelsea Cinemas in Midtown Manhattan, followed by the premiere after party at the iconic Limelight in New York.
I'm preparing our schedule for tonight through Wednesday, through Friday. And this is our first night in. Let me explain what's going on so I can have everything in order. We just came in. It's right now 8:30 New York time. We arrived here about 5 o'clock. We are 2 days away from the event screening happening at Anthology this Saturday, which you guys are going to get to see in some footage a little bit later. And we're currently preparing our plan for this week. So, it just tastes better. We start with visiting Manny at Ola, Sandra Garcia at AHA, School of Visual Arts.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you to the Anthology Film Archives. My name is Jorge Amir, and I'm the president of Hollywood Independence in Los Angeles. We'd like to welcome you this afternoon to the screening of California Myth, starring Howell Jr., who starred in Cocoon 2. We'd like to thank the Village Boys, and also this film is being presented by A-Mid Productions in Los Angeles. Enjoy the show.
And right now they're putting up the sign for the California Myth premiere. Working on putting the whole thing together. I think it's looking good so far. You take a closer look. Just putting up the sign here. Something on camera.
Say something, well. Hello. Hi, Manny Alfaro, Hispanic Organization of Black Actors. Thank you. Jorge down here, representing an opportunity for us to express ourselves here tonight on 23rd Street. Beautiful night.
Excellent. This is a good actor. My name is Jorge Amir, and I'm president of Hollywood Independence. First, the star of the film is from Los Angeles, Carlos Jr. Thank you very much for coming. Hope you enjoy it. Second, I'd like to introduce the director of the film, Mr. Michel Katz, who is organizations, like Mr. and Mr. Premier for tonight. Ola is Romania Farrell.
I want you to know Ola is a Hispanic organization of Latin actors. It's a non-profit arts group, around 25 years, possibly the nation's oldest arts group dedicated to opening up channels and opportunities to Latinos in this business that we call show business. And I want to thank the Hollywood Independence and Jorge Amir for affording this opportunity to get a few bucks from you guys that paid tickets to film tonight. Thank you, and I hope you all enjoy the show.
Incidentally, they also offer opportunities to Irishmen who are pretending to be.
We have a few Irishmen that have been to South America. All of them. They all speak Spanish.
I'd like to introduce the executive director of the Association of Hispanic Art, Sandra Perez.
Not with the actors, we use that thematic, but we work with the organization, cultural organizations throughout the city. And we're very interested in working with you all and supporting the work of Hollywood Independence. So we hope to see you further. Catch the show and tell your friends later.
Yes, the show opens next Friday at the Village East. And also I'd like to make a special mention for a person who's been working very hard the past 6 months to make this show happen, and that's John Greenlaw, who's the head of operations for my company. So enjoy the show. Thank you. Left. Everybody's gone. Right. Another trip. Southern California New York premiere. And this is our town car that's going to be taking us to the airport. We just arrived. We've got our stuff in there. You notice our easels and stuff like that. The back is pretty much full. John is checking out. And we're about to head to the airport now. So we'll continue to...
Midtown Tunnel, there we go.
It's totally black candles.
What was that experience? What was it like working with Michelle and making that movie?
Everything, we all love Michelle, and anything that we did with him was fantastic. You know, it was a lot of fun. That was his baby, and we enjoyed it.
And what are you working on now? You're telling me that there's an album that you're working on. Tell us about that.
I am recording a new album with Sonora Santanera, which is a very big group band from Mexico, and tropical music. So I just, last year I launched 2 songs already, Acaríciame Salsa and Vamos a Bailar Guajira. And you can find those 2 songs in all the platforms, musical platforms. I still have to record 8 more songs.
Fantastic. And any movie projects on the horizon that you can look forward to?
There's something that's happening, but I'm shooting now like a pilot of a comedy with TV. And the last movie I did is called Sally Wood, which is about Sally Kirkland.
Sally Kirkland was one of my movies. Was in my very latest film, Altered Percent. My film was her last movie.
What was that?
Well, it came out in 2024.
No, I think your last movie was in Sally Wood. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
She wasn't Sally Wood. You're right. Sally Wood played at a festival that Michael played at as well.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So
You missed Sally Kirkland.
It's in Amazon Prime.
Wow.
And it's very nice. Yeah.
You're such an icon of the Latin community because I grew up listening to your music, watching your novellas, and I mean, you were in the Running Man. I mean, what looking back at your career, how, in a nutshell, how would you describe your experience, your lifetime film and singing experience?
I did whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do it, wherever I wanted to do it. I did what I wanted to be and do in life. I made a lot of mistakes, obviously, but I lived my life my way, you know, so, and I think that's the best way to live person's life, you know, with mistakes and everything.
It almost sounds like one of your songs.
Yeah, and more to come.
Yes, and this is your first Hollywood show. What do you think of the experience?
I'm having a lot of fun. I have never wanted to do anything like this, and I am enjoying it, and I love to see people, their faces.
I'm from Panama. I just came back from Panama like 2 days ago. Send a shout out to like all of your fans because they're gonna go crazy when they see you.
Yes, un abrazo para todos, bendiciones, and may this 2026 bring you every connection level.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Maria. We love you. Thank you for all of your music, your novellas, your movies that you brought into our lives. I'm a die-hard fan of your novellas. I grew up watching all of your novellas and your music too. I've got some in your collection at home. I'm just wishing you luck for your new album, any future projects, and everything you choose to do in 2026.
And see, go to my Instagram, Maria Conchita_A.
Follow her.
Yeah, and my Facebook, Maria Conchita Alonso Oficial.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're here with a very famous director who I actually love his work, Mr. Louis T. He directed Jewel of the Nile with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, 1984, right? 85. And Navy SEALs and Cat's Eye. And what an honor to be with you today. Tell me a little bit about, is this your first time at the Hollywood show?
Yes, it is.
What are your thoughts on it?
It's a lot of fun, mainly to have a chance to meet fans. And, you know, I've worked really hard on these films. I've worked really hard on them. And it's nice to meet people that appreciate them. It makes it worthwhile.
We certainly do. Quick question. Of all of these films that you have directed, what was your favorite experience of all of them?
Different films for different reasons. I had the most fun on Cat's Eye because I had a chance to work with Stephen King on the script. It was produced by Dino De Laurentiis, who I did 4 films with, and he was great to work with. And I was able to experiment with 4 separate little stories that were all told in a lighthearted sort of way. I really like that.
What about Michael Douglas? As a matter of fact, I just came back from Panama 2 days ago, and Michael Douglas and Kathleen Zeta-Jones are in Panama right now. Did you know that? I'm not sure if you're friends with Michael Douglas, but he's like
What
literally.
are they doing?
They are touring Panama, Bocas de Toro, to be very specific. And they're there right now just hanging out. And there's a lot of stars that actually, have you been to Panama before?
No.
You should, it's a beautiful country, beautiful place. I'm from there, but not that I'm promoting the country, but you should definitely, it's the tropics. So what was it like working with Michael Douglas on Jewel of the Nile? Because that is one of my favorites. And Kathleen Turner, I love her from Crimes of Passion, one of my favorite films.
I was just finishing up Cat's Eye.
Okay.
And when I met Michael Douglas, and he wanted me to do the sequel. We didn't have a script yet, which was a little concerning. We had a release date, we had a limited amount of time. I had to commit to undertake a project without a completed script, but I knew from Michael and his career that he was guaranteed quality, and so I jumped into it. It was a really hard job. Michael was great to work with, very professional. He was very good at taking off the producer hat, putting on his director's hat when he was on the set. So it was just really a delight to work with.
So this film shot in Egypt, correct?
No, Morocco.
Morocco. What was it like shooting there at that time?
Well, Morocco's a beautiful country. They have a little bit of the infrastructure, but we brought in everything that we needed. I had a great crew, and I was able to cherry pick my crew from different European crew members I worked with in the past. Jan de Conchita from Holland, and Cookie Lopez, my first assistant director, who is from Spain. I worked with him before. So I was able to put together the ideal crew, and it was very fun.
Romancing the Stone, and this one, like literally his baby that he put together.
Right.
And so by you coming in, did you guys already have a relationship from previous films or other projects?
No.
Or did he like your work and he's just like, this is the guy that I want?
Most of them was hard to me because of my work on Cujo, mainly. He said, I really like your capacity to behave well and get good performances. That's why he hired me.
And what was it like working with Drew Barrymore?
Well, Drew Barrymore, that's a whole different story on Cat's Eye. Because she was a terrific worker. She was charming and talented, even at age 9. She was at a very awkward period between being a child star like on TV, where she was very natural, and being an actress, she became later. She was in that adolescent. But she was great, fun, was talented.
So tell us a little bit about how was Hollywood back then to make films? I mean, was it easy? Was it challenging? What was it like?
Well, at that time, we're talking about the 80s, 1980s, even though the studio system is still pretty much controlled filmmaking, I always worked outside the studio system. Every single film I did was independent, very approved. That was Jewel of the Nile was released by 20th Century Fox, but it was Michael Douglas' independent production. So I didn't have to answer to the studio. Michael was my boss.
This is very interesting. So I'm an independent filmmaker. So yours is more of the higher echelon of independent films that would have name talent and then studios would gravitate to want to release this film.
Well, even today, the studios are primarily releasing institutions. And if they're doing films, we're not talking about the Marvel movies. They're usually co-production, they're buying films. So if you're an independent filmmaker, as I was then, it's pretty much the same. You're shooting in different cameras, you're releasing them differently, but your challenge as a director is identical.
So interesting enough, because back then everything was 35 millimeter, and now, I mean, I'm a filmmaker now, and the market is oversaturated. We just did an interview with several sales financiers from AFM. Are you still working in film right now?
I am, but digital filmmaking hasn't taken over. Filmmakers like Sean Baker, who directed NLR last year, are still shooting on film. He shot that on 35.
And what do you think as far as the quality of films that are coming out now, as opposed to the films from the 80s? Because a lot of these films that are right now in the 80s are classics now. And I remember when I saw them in theaters, nobody could ever imagine that they would become classics. Ghostbusters being one of them, because I remember clearly I went to go see that in a movie theater, and now it's like this, I mean, there's this whole fandom world around this. And there's a lot of films from the 80s have kind of acquired that same kind of status. What do you think has made those films so special that people are gravitating and forming fan worlds around them today?
I personally don't think things have changed. I think if you made this one classic film, you would have a film or two from each year, and there are at least 2 films every year that are destined to become classics, even today.
And what are your favorite classic films?
Oh, God. I will just, there's so many, but I will just point out Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless, which came out in the early 60s, because that's a film that inspired me to become a filmmaker.
Here, one of my absolute favorite actors he's done some amazing work, especially E.T., that is my very favorite, probably the whole reason why I got into cinema. And we're here getting close to my birthday on Monday, and I just happened to be here at the Hollywood show and just kind of sort of bumped into him. You really don't bump into people here. But Mr. Thomas, it's such a pleasure to be here in your presence.
Oh, thanks. Thanks
I mean,
for coming out.
This is a dream come true happening right now for me, because many people will never, ever in their lifetime probably get to experience this, but glad I did. And yes, please tell, I mean, like, he has a certain wish that I asked him to do for me.
What's that?
My birthday wish.
Oh, your birthday wish. Well, happy birthday. It's your birthday.
Thank you so much. And it's a very special birthday just because it's coming from the star of E.T. So stay tuned, there's more to come. Thank you so much, Mr.
You're welcome.
Thomas.
Happy birthday.
You're
Enjoy
amazing.
it.
You're amazing. You're an amazing actor.
You're going to be this old all year, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
And I hope it stays that way.
Okay.
Here we are with Miss Catherine Ferrer, and she has done a constellation of work that I do want, for those of you who might remember. Now, this is work from the 60s, which I absolutely love because I love classic anything. And Miss Ferrer was in Night Gallery, $6 Million Man, Batman, The Sixth Sense. I mean, you have Man from U.N.C.L.E. What a pleasure to be here with you. I mean, you're like an icon of the 60s.
And the early 70s.
And the early 70s. I wasn't even born yet, but you know, it's like, I still love everything that's vintage from, you know, coming from this era. Tell me, what was it like to work in Hollywood in those decades?
It was different than it is now because it was still the end of the system for the studios where they would have people under contract. So there were contract players, and if you weren't a contract player like at Universal, it took me years to get my first job at Universal because they had a contract school.
Okay.
And the people were told to hire people from the contract school.
So you were part of that
I
contract?
wasn't, that's why I never got to work for them.
Interesting.
The first time I got to work for them was when I did The Sixth Sense.
Wow.
So I had a series and then I got to work for them.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how you started. Were you born and raised here in Los Angeles or California?
I was born in Connecticut and I came here when I was 2.
Okay.
So I grew up here and I feel like an Angelino.
And what was it like to did you always want to be an actress and always want to be in the business?
When I was in high school, there is something in California, it's a dramatic and comedy competition for all the high schools. And as a freshman, I won first place. And my girlfriend won first place in comedy. So I went, oh, this is kind of cool. And there was a workshop that a friend was running at Desi Studios, Lucille Ball.
Absolutely.
So it was Lucy's group, it was called Professional Theater Workshop, and everybody there had to be 21 to be in the workshop.
Okay.
I was 16. So they said, okay, you can be here. So I got all the instrument roles. Because I was the only one that was really young. And one day, one of my acting coaches said to me, you know, Kathy, your voice is, you're not going to ever be able to, do real shows because you sound like you're a young person at ingenue. You sound like you're 16. He didn't say anything. The next day I came in and he went, Hugh, I just want you to know, I am 16. So I was there for a few years, working with Joe Sargent, the film director, and Mary Carver, and there were a lot of really good directors and people that we dealt with. And then MGM. So then it was the last contract classes at MGM, and it was when MGM was doing so many shows. They had to have 2 lunch hours, and the 2 lunch hours were because Man from U.N.C.L.E., Girl from U.N.C.L.E., Dr. Kildare, Courtship of Eddie's Father, I mean, you name it. They were shooting it there, plus all the Sam Katzman movies, which were like a lot of the Elvis Presley films there. And so I worked constantly on Man from Uncle.
What was it like working? Now, I have a question. So your last name is Ferraro. Are you Latino?
Ferraro is my name.
Okay.
But when I was at MGM, they said, you're very Italian. So we're killing the O on your name, and you're going to be Catherine Ferraro.
So you were in that time where they would literally tell you exactly if you needed to change your name or not.
Oh, yeah.
And what were your thoughts about that?
Okay, well, you're 18 years old, and somebody who's an executive tells you that. You go,
Okay. Okay. All right.
I mean, if you're a little older and you've been in the business a while, you know that when you first started working, like here, I was 18 in this picture, and it was Man from Uncle. So here's this young girl, and they say, do this, and you go, okay.
Now, how did you land roles like in Batman? You've got this. Look at this, folks. How amazing is that? And in Night Gallery, I love Night Gallery. I mean, this is a show that I used to watch all the time growing up. And I mean,
that was the pilot of Batman.
the pilot of Batman. What year is this?
Yes. 60 years ago.
60 years ago. 60 years ago.
60th anniversary of Batman.
You mean 2026 or 2025?
2026.
60th anniversary of Batman. Now, what was? So you were here in LA. What was LA, Hollywood like? Just living and working here.
I always found it very easy. The rules were a little different. I mean, there was a show that there were 3 actresses, and we all had the same agent. And the agent would send us all out on the same call at the same time. Not even caring that we were all seeing each other every time. So it was like, okay, we go out and really interview, and if we get it, they didn't, like now there's regulations. If you go on an interview, they can't keep you for 4 hours and not pay you.
Exactly.
Then, one show that I was reading for, we went on it, they took 3 girls and they said, okay, this is a show from Warner Brothers, and it's called Chicago Teddy Bears, and it's a show that takes place in the 20s. So they sent us, after 2 hours of waiting, they sent us to the hairdresser to do the 20s ourselves to see if we looked good that way. So they did that. So then after a while, they came out and they said, okay, well, why don't you read for the part? And it ended up we were there like 4 hours. Now that doesn't happen. If you go in, you're there in a respectable amount of time, and they'll let you go. Otherwise, they pay you for your time. So it was kind of cool because you would walk down the center of MGM and you'd see Edith Head walking down, and then you would see another big star because they did all these huge films there. Or Richard Chamberlain, who was doing, his series there, or Courtship of Eddie's father, Bill Bixby, and Jimmy Comack walking down the street. And when we would be in the commissary having lunch, a casting director would go, oh, Kathy, come for an interview now.
Just like that.
Just like that, because he would have just thought of it because he didn't remember to call you or to contact your agent. So I would go, oh, and I'd go and read, and I'd have another job.
Wow.
So it was very clean.
So it's definitely not like today.
Not like today. They didn't,
Are you still working today, or are you retired
I
mostly?
retired. I did it from 18 to 38.
Okay.
So I was 20 years vested in the guild.
Okay. And so that's like the beginning of 80s or like the late 70s, or did you retire
Then
in the 80s? So you've been working in the business for 3 decades. What would you say were the differences that, because there's changes constantly happening in this business. What would you say were the major changes that happened from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s in the whole process of making movies?
One of the things that really affected me is the film industry kind of changes around. So at a certain time, only really beautiful women got roles.
Is that the 60s we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
So everything was the lady that sits over there. I don't know if you saw her pictures, but she was drop dead gorgeous. And when you were really attractive, you got more roles than anyone. Then it started getting, well, a little later. Then it got to be the Carrie Snodgrass, Diary of a Mad Housewife. And then the pretty girls were getting more.
Interesting.
So it went through cycles.
This is the 70s where the pretty girls weren't getting roles.
60s and 70s, and then 80s, Diary of a Mad Housewife, 80s, 90s, it started changing. Where you didn't have to be gorgeous to be in the things. So, and I'm not disparaging if you weren't gorgeous, because there were great actresses that came out of that period. I mean, they really honed their craft and deserved every job they had. But then if you would go up for a part, I remember doing the Sixth Sense TV series, and one of the directors said to me, I need you to put on some dark horn-rimmed glasses and pull your hair back in a ponytail. She didn't say, and he said, well, you're cliche. You're the gorgeous person. She's the assistant. And not all assistants are gorgeous.
Wow.
So
wow.
It went from those pictures to horn-rimmed glasses and my hair pulled back, because they wanted what they felt was a more realistic look.
What would you say was your most memorable role experience that you will never forget, and why is that?
Well, I did Days of Our Lives in General Hospital.
Okay.
For quite a while.
Okay.
And I guess some of my work on Days of Our Lives, the character that I played.
Is that because it challenged you, or because of it? Okay.
And my most memorable thing that ever happened was when I read for the role of the character I was playing. I was replacing somebody, and it had been 2 or 3 other people that had played that character. But when I read the role to the producer, Betty Corday, when I finished, she was crying.
Wow.
And I just was so overwhelmed that, and I fortunately got the role. But to see her do that when it was her show, she was just a lovely inspiration to the show. So that's really memorable.
In short, how would you describe your entire experience in Hollywood? If you had to choose one word, what would it be?
The different shows, the different shows we're going
I see. I use that word interesting when you don't really want to tell somebody what you really think, but it's almost a safe word.
Yeah, but it's meant not in the generic interesting. It meant that the way each director was so different. It was very interesting how they chose to direct shows that I had been on several times. So we were used to certain things. And each director had his own
way.
blueprint. And so that was interesting. And then writers on the different shows, when I did The Sixth Sense, Harlan Ellison, who was a huge science fiction writer, was a writer. And he would bring in scripts that were incredible. And it was so interesting to see. And the show was at ESPN. So all the directors were
Wow.
John
We did a whole podcast on Superman.
John Badham.
It was too much.
Wow.
That's how I felt.
Really prominent directors directing the show. It was a really difficult show. They had all these ESP side things going. So some of the directors hopped in and really pulled it off, and others had a hard time. And because the show was a mid-season replacement, by the third show we were behind air. So we were on forced call. Forced call is when you don't have 8 hours from the time you leave the studio to have to be back.
Wow.
So at one point I had a temperature and was sick. So I had a cot on the set. And I would do my scene and then go back and lie down on the cot. Because I was sick and I couldn't afford to miss the shots.
Exactly.
Because we were behind air. So the show must go on was for real then. So it's interesting because the people, how people treat me very interesting. I did a mod squad, and Peggy Lipton, the lead on Mod Squad, came up to me, introduced herself, took me around to all the people on the show, introduced me to them and the rest of the crew and things, and I was blown away because on all the shows I had been, nobody took the time to do that to someone. And I made a mental note of it then and said, if I ever have a series, I'm going to do that too. And one day, I met her dad, who was a lawyer in town. And I said, can I tell you a story about your mother? And I told him what she did. And he said, well, there's so much you're telling me. I said, she made such an impression on me. I never forgot it. And I did do what she did when I got
That's a great story. That's a great story. And with that, we're going to end. We thank you so much for the time that you've given us to experience some of what you experienced back in the days of Hollywood in the six. Now on a general note, would you compare to what you see now in the business and how things are from wherever you get your information for? How would you compare those times to what's going on now?
I'm really glad I was working then.
Back then?
Yes.
You heard that here, folks. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm glad I was working back then. Even one of my actresses agrees. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not
Times
only
have changed.
me. So you can talk to a lot of the people here. They will give you the same answer.
Wow. Well, with that, thank you so much, Ms. Ferrara. It was a pleasure to interview you and find out about your experience and your amazing work and how Hollywood was back then. I'm such a die-hard fan of anything of Hollywood. Well, this now is classic Hollywood. We're talking 60 years ago now.
Yeah.
I thank you for your contributions to the business and to all of this. You have a whole body of work, and it's just nice to connect with somebody such as yourself.
Thank
You know, we really need to record and give the space so we can remember these things. This is so important. I'm all about preservation. And that's one of the reasons I started this podcast. Is, you know, we did a podcast on William Holden and the 75th anniversary of Sunset Boulevard and stuff like that. And it's so important because I feel we're losing this. And we're losing this very, very fast because we're living in a society that is so ever-changing and so fast. And no one is looking back like we used to anymore because everybody's such in a rush.
When you did William Holden, did you introduce Stephen?
We were about to interview. She has wrapped up. She was wrapping things up. But you know what? I am not going to give up.
Don't give up.
I am not going to give up.
Great story. She she was with William Holden for many years.
Yes. And we did a whole podcast on William. I will send you the link to that podcast on Sunset Boulevard and William Holden, because it was also the Tori, what was the name of that? Susie Wong. The film that it was also the 65th anniversary of Susie Wong. So I'm going to send you that link so you can check that out. I'm totally up to. I have a whole wall on William Holden films, and it's just amazing to hear these great stories and relive these experiences with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And here, yes.
Thank you, folks.